brains male or female? Daphna Joel did a talk about this some time ago, and I made a long version reply to this. This is the short version reply to this, and I'm going to take the short version reply a little bit different, obviously, than the long version reply. So the first question there is, are there distinctions between male and female brains?
I soon found out that many scientists, just like most of us, believe that there are male brains and female brains.
Okay, so there are male brains and female brains.
Already in the womb, the story continues. A huge surge of testosterone transforms the brain of the male fetus from the default female form to the male form. So boys are born with a male brain, and girls are born with a female brain.
And if I understand you correct, these differences already happen before you are born. Okay, good to know.
Already at the end of the 19th century, scientists discovered a difference between the brains of men and the brains of women. They discovered that the brains of men were on average larger than the brains of women.
So we have known for more than 100 years that there's a difference between male brains and female brains. Thank you. I'm learning here. Oh, and don't think that because women have smaller brains they're less intelligent, because brain size and intelligence don't really have a lot to do with each other. After all, both the blue whale and the elephant have significantly larger brains than humans, and I have never heard of one of them becoming a rocket scientist. But yeah, that's just me.
Compared to men, women have a thicker cortex, a higher proportion of gray matter, and a lower proportion of white matter. Compared to women, men have larger ventricles.
So what you're saying us is that there are significant and measurable differences between a male and a female brain. Thank you. You keep making sure that we know that there's a difference between the male and the female brain. What was your point again? Ah, okay, I almost forgot. You wanted to tell us how brains are intersex, so that they're the same. I'm not quite sure though, because so far all you've been doing is telling us how they are different. Vastly different.
We now know of hundreds of differences between the brains of men and women. Not just differences in the size, as I've just shown you, but also differences in the microanatomy of the brain.
Yeah, hundreds of differences. So, very much not the same, right? Just like you show in this small text thingy. By the way, people, I didn't look up anything on the internet. I didn't put in any images. Everything you see is from her original video, including this one.
There are many differences between the brains of males and females, so there must be a male brain and a female brain.
Well, yes. Just like there are differences between a male and a female skeleton, or male and female reproductive organs, or male and female body mass, or... yeah, I think you get the point. So, yes, there are differences between the male and the female brain. Therefore, it concludes that there is something like a male brain and a female brain. Thank you for getting us there.
But then I read the paper I told you about in the beginning, the one that found that stress can change the sex of the brain.
So, all of these measurable differences between male and female brains, and you found something that can change a male brain into a female brain and a female brain into a male brain. Am I understanding this correct? I doubt that.
And here we can see an actual dendrite from a male rat and a dendrite from a female rat. And I added red arrows so it is easier to detect the spines. And we can clearly see a sex difference. Males have fewer spines compared to females.
First off, for you who do not know, a dendrite is basically like a small sort of hair sticking out from a neuron. And no, it's not real hair, I'm just trying to describe it. You can also call it, well, a dendrite. Yeah.
And here we can see a dendrite from a stressed male and a dendrite from a stressed female. Strangely enough, the dendrite from the stressed male has what we have just termed the female form, that is, lots of spines. And the dendrite from the stressed female has what we have just termed the male form, which is few spines.
First off, you asserted that they're male dendrites and female dendrites because they're in a male brain or in a female brain. Now, that these dendrites work differently in a male brain or a female brain seems clear, but they are not having any sex. They're not male, they're dendrites in a brain. The brain is in a male. The brain itself isn't male. And when we add stress, we see that the spines on the dendrite become more in a man and less in a woman. We don't really know why. We don't even know what these spines really do. We have a lot of assertions, but we don't know. And here you are claiming that it'll turn a male dendrite into a female dendrite. But wait a second. It's not a female dendrite. It's a male dendrite under stress. The other one, the one that you want to call a male dendrite in a woman, is a female dendrite under stress. So they're still different. You are pushing a narrative. You are lying to us. Lying by making it sound that it's something else. Why?
It makes much more sense, it's much more reasonable and rational to use informative terms such as sparse versus dense, high versus low, long versus short. But I will continue to use this male-female terminology because this will help me make my point clear.
Is this you admitting that they're not male and female, but you will call them male and female because it will make your point clear, even though your point will then automatically be based on something that is not true? Well, thank you. Why did I waste all my time on this?
Let's go back now to the male fetus and to the testosterone surge that is transforming his brain from the female form to the male form. And add only one component: stress. Picture the fetus mother. During the long weeks of pregnancy, she sometimes experiences stress, not all the time, but sometimes she experiences stress. Whenever she does, some features of her fetus brain change their sex.
This is really not saying anything. So yes, when a mother is pregnant and stress affects her brain, and it may affect the developing brain of the fetus in her body, then it does. But in the end, if it's a boy, there will be strong characteristics in that brain that will definitely put it out as male. I mean, cortex would be smaller, brain size would be bigger. I could obviously go on, but I don't really see the need for it. You yourself said there are differences between male and female brains, but the dendrites may act differently under stress. Funny enough, you've also proven that male dendrites react differently under stress than female dendrites, basically showing us once again that there's a difference between male and female. How long do you want to go on trying to push your story?
So when her boy is born, his brain is a mosaic of both male and female characteristics. This mosaic is uniquely his, molded by the complex interactions of his hormones with the environment he has been living in up until now. The same is true for the female fetus. Her brain is also molded by complex interactions of hormones and environment, so that the little girl is also born with a mosaic or brain mosaic composed of female and male characteristics.
Remember a moment ago how she said, well, I should call it different than male and female, but I'm going to call it male and female anyway because it fits the narrative? You remember it?
It makes much more sense, it's much more reasonable and rational to use informative terms such as sparse versus dense, high versus low, long versus short. But I will continue to use this male-female terminology because this will help me make my point clear.
So if we call things male and female enough, then eventually people will believe that it is in fact male and female, even though in fact it is not. Well done.
So we see that we are already born with a brain which is neither male nor female. It is intersex, that is a mixture of both male and female characteristics.
So we are to think of male and female brains now as intersex, even though you yourself proven, or at least asserted, that there are huge differences between male and female brains, and you're not even going to argue on those because you totally see them as well, but because of the way a dendrite, well, not one, all of them, respond during stress, gives you the reason to say, well, look, but this is male, this is female. Even though you yourself say, well, I shouldn't really call it male and female, but I'm going to do so because it serves my purpose. You didn't say serves my purpose, but that's basically it, isn't it? You are so full of lies that in the end you're going to say, look, we all have intersex brains, even though the cortex of a female brain is still bigger than that of a male, etc., 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 etc. Daphna Joel, you are a prime example of what is wrong with the soft sciences. You are not looking at the facts, you are looking at the narrative. You want to tell us a story, and because this is the story you want to tell us, this must be true. Even though you yourself say, well, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I cannot believe that there are people actually paying you for this. This is why soft sciences go down the drain. And the worst part is, you are right. There is a difference in how dendrites react under stress. Now, this is interesting. This is something we should look at. But we're not looking at it. No. We're just mentioning it to make sure that everyone knows, well, there are vast differences, but there's this one little thing, which is still a difference. And therefore, I'm going to say it's the same. Bloody fucking hell. You are a prime example of how people can claim women not to be that intelligent, which is weird considering your education. Anyway, I'm going to take a breath now. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to relax. Like, share and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome, and I hope to see you all next time. Oh wait, this is the short version. There's also a long version where I take more time to respond to her, well, bullshit. Anyway, see you all next time, people.